Hey, folks. Great to see you. Just a student had a question, and I thought this was a great time to introduce something we really haven't seen yet. This is pretty cool. We're very used to our TI-83 and TI-84 calculators, but as you notice, as you look at my screen over here, I'm working on the Desmos platform right now. You just hit Desmos and go start graphing. It takes you to this spot, and if you start typing an equation like 2x minus 1, it'll graph a line for you. But if you start inputting y, this will actually allow you to graph uh, implicit equations. And so I want you to see what this looks like because it's really kind of fun. So this is a problem number, I think, 5 from your assignment, and that's the graph you get. And so you can see, trying to come up with that graph on your own is pretty challenging. Desmos does it really quickly for you. Interesting graph. Who knows why it behaves the way it does? Actually, I said equal to 1. I think it's equal to 6. We're going to just change that guy. You see it makes it a little bit bigger in that situation. So the question is, how do I check to make sure the derivative is right? Well, notice that this red graph, it's not a function, is it? And so that for that reason, graphing it and coming with derivatives is a little bit more challenging. We've discussed that. But I did try plugging in the derivative, which is this guy I've got right there. What the interesting thing is, if I set the derivative equal to a certain value, like let's say I set it equal to 1. Okay. Now I'm going to hover this yellow kind of pointer here. If you look at the graph, you can see that the derivative is probably equal to 1 somewhere right about there. And then if you follow along, derivative is probably equal to 1, say somewhere right about there. And so if I go over here and I set equal to 1, you actually come up with a function. There it is. And it crosses right where the slope should be 1. And so if you get those two spots, there's a good chance you've done it correctly. Now, suppose you're like, well, I don't know if that's actually right. What about, say, -1? Well, if you followed along here, I would say the slope would be -1, maybe right about there. And then maybe somewhere way up there eventually. So if I just change this to, say, -1, we'll see what happens. And sure enough, it crosses there, and then it's going to head way up there as well. If you look at like really close to 2 here, you say that the derivative would be very negative, maybe a value of like, I don't know, -100. Say make it -100, and you see, sure enough, the graph, it struggles at some point. You're asking to do some pretty complex stuff at this point, but notice that this spot, you can see the derivative is negative. Just change that guy to a positive and watch how it just drops a little bit, so it's on the positive side. So kind of fun to play around. Math is fun, and I just want to show you one way to check your answers. Obviously, my answer key is one way to do it, but even that's sometimes wrong. So like problem number 8, we figured out that I wrote that answer somewhat incorrectly. This is how I would verify. This is one way to verify that it was correct. So Desmos is pretty awesome. So just another way to check it out, especially while using your Chromebook. Always cool to have Desmos open for some graphing. So hope that helped. Hopefully you had a little bit of fun.